Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, everybody. This is Sean Moffat. I will be your host and concierge for today. We are doing in the true spirit of just-in-time production here. We'll wait for some people to come in. I think we had, well, I didn't even check the last minute numbers in terms of how many people we had coming in, but it should be fun today.
Damn. Sean, I like the tree in front of you. That gives you some nice theatrical effect.
I know. Wow. Geez, I've really got my lighting on well today. So let's try something
You are
else.
touched by the Holy Ghost.
Yeah, you're good.
Can you tell I just got in from outdoors? Wow. All right. And so this is our Atelier number 9, and I'm looking forward to this. We've got 3 different challenges we're serving up today. I'll let people climb in before we get into the logistics and rules and what we're doing. But any interesting stories from the world out there? Agustin, you're usually good for something.
I've got one today.
Let's
The
do it,
interesting
Scott.
one is it's the Canadian syrup reserves that have been unleashed. So maple syrup reserves that have been brought out in Canada. I thought that was quite interesting.
Yeah, no, it is almost like our Fort Knox. There's this central place where we hold all of our maple syrup, and somebody actually held up the plant a few years ago and stole on par with millions of dollars of maple syrup. So there are 2 liquids in the world that are extremely valuable: maple syrup and printer fluid. If you can get your hands on either, please do so. I'm going to pop up a presentation here just to guide us for today. And for those that have joined, you will at some point in time be hastily assembled into teams of 4. So I want to thank Jill Rosenberg for the visuals behind this atelier and all ateliers that we do. She does a great job thematically presenting ourselves here. We've got this one for about a couple hours today, but we'll see if we need it. Depends how many people show up. And it really goes under the guise of Alan Kay's kind of quote, the best way to predict the future is to actually create it. So we are doing a power hackathon today. I know things get compressed at the end, so I thought I'd quickly go through some housekeeping that we do for new members and everything else that's going on in the Guild. First of all, who are we? If you're new to us, we are the Gray Swan Guild. We make sense of the world's biggest challenges and next gray swans. I think today's theme is in keeping with that today. And we do it through these 6 different forms and vehicles. And increasingly, there's a lot of them. So we always present good news at the start of each one of our meetings. I thought this one was consistent with our invention innovator orientation today. Now, there is a jelly ice cube that is available now. Every time I order food from my house, like, you know, whether it's skip the dishes or whatever, I'm always like, why is there so much plastic and packaging in here? So finally, they've invented a jelly ice cube that is 90% water. The rest of it is reducible, reusable, and I think it's made out of things that combust or at least go back to nature again. So I thought that was pretty good. It was based at the University of California, and certainly one of my big vexing challenges of I hate cooking and I love online ordering and I hate the waste that comes out of it. So so have a look at that one. Our next 3 events, we do ateliers once a month. We have Fahrenheit 4.51, which is an interesting take on a book, but it's also talking about the climate. We'll do that in January. Agustin has asked us again and again, month after month, can you please do one on crypto? So we're doing one on crypto in February. So hopefully crypto for the real world. And we are invoking our Alex Trebeks and doing Gray Swan Jeopardy later this month to find out who.
So I'm having a real-time prediction. So
Okay.
today is December the 10th. Let's talk February the 10th in 2 months and see how the crypto world is doing. Okay.
All right, there you go. I feel like you're my Ed McMahon sometimes on these things, and I may be dating myself with that reference, but it's a good conversation we have. We're also doing Great Swan Jeopardy, so yeah, find out who the smartest among us is later this month. We did a great session last Sunday called The Future Interrupted and Disrupted. This week we're doing the human flight of storytelling. These tend to get produced on Friday and show up on our Medium channel, and then we discuss them Sunday, 11 o'clock Sunday. We also have a feature and sense making series where next Friday we'll be talking about the daily habits of sense makers, critical thinkers, change agents, and liminalists. And our feature city of the month is Houston. So if you know any Lone Stars out there, we want to make them into Guild Stars. I think next Wednesday we're getting together in a town hall with all of our new Houston members. And there are 3 ventures on the go right now. There's about 12 of them, but 3 that need some help. We have a working group doing something on sense making for new teens, so principally 13 and 14-year-olds. We are just starting our first planning meetings and would love anybody interested in being involved. And I think somebody's got a scratchy mic there. I'm not too sure who it is. Just mute yourself if you think it might be you. But we're looking for people there. We're also testing out some things in terms of our pedagogy of making sense of the world. So we're doing a couple of focus groups next Wednesday with that group. And we also have a book club. We are starting a book club where we're going to interview authors and get everybody's best suggestions. And so we're also looking for people to help out there. And we always love profiling our members. This week, we've served up Bronwyn Williams out of Johannesburg, South Africa. She works for Flex Trends and is a super smart person. And I learned so much more about her in our 8 questions with. You'll find that on our Medium as well. All right. Dealing with the housekeeping there. Now that we're all gamefully well up to speed with what we're doing on the Guild, let's talk about today's event. We've got 6 judges. We've got 3 different people serving up challenges. And Eli and John, please, as I introduce you later, tweak the challenge if it needs to be tweaked. We could have called it a power hackathon. Sometimes these things happen over 48 hours over a course of a week. We're trying to compress it into 2 hours, or a solution sprint, a little bit of competition and collaboration. And we are serving up 3 different challenges. So you, as people that have come into our world today, have a choice. You can choose the product-based one, an intelligence-based one, or a systems-based one that we're going to be serving up. I'm going to be introducing our illustrious panel here. They've come from all around the world. Agatha Acciarda, who is Managing Director of Think Next. Are you there, Agatha?
Hello, I'm here.
Wonderful. Welcome, first of all.
Can you hear me?
For, I can. You might be not able to hear us. Maybe it's your mic coming back, but I know you come to us from London today. Any thoughts in terms of our competition today, Agatha?
I'm just very looking forward to it. And for today, I'm actually not in London. I'm now in Paris, so it's a bit like Friday.
I love it. And sorry, I think somebody's mic is on kind of build again. So thank you for joining us. Christine Van de Beek, a principal and CSO, Chief Strategy Officer of Effect Advisory. She is a future proofer and she is based out of Vancouver. Welcome, Christine.
Hello, I've had about 6 cups of coffee. It's 8 a.m. here in Vancouver, British Columbia. Looking forward to today's event.
Wonderful. And I know no matter what time I bring you up on these or other sessions, you're always looking perfect. So, I mean, I don't know how long it takes. I don't know what your regimen is, but well done. Dave de Backer out of Netherlands. He is the research lead and innovation strategist for GER. And I hope I have enough R's on there or haven't shortened your R's. I always get that wrong when I do it, Dave. Welcome, Dave.
Yeah, thanks. Great to be here. And yeah, perfect with the amount of R's, I'd say.
Okay, good. Any thoughts before we get started on today?
Yeah, well, I'm really looking forward. And I do have some expectations about these challenges. I'd really like to see some ideas that take into account the environment and people's wealth. And let's say, like, we can't assume that resources are inevitable. So, and especially if you could be a Jedi, or at least meaning justice, equity, diversity, and inclusion in there, that would really make me happy.
Wonderful. And Jonathan Burns, welcome. CEO, Strategy Q, back office stars from my own town of Toronto. One of the smartest people we know. Every Jonathan that we ever bring into the guild is super, super smart. So this is one of your first events, so I expect nothing less from you, Jonathan.
You're a good man, Sean. It's good to be here. Very nice to meet everybody. And I think in terms of what I'm looking for today, I love to dream, but I'm also a small business entrepreneur, and I'm more practical than academic. So I'm looking for feasibility. I'm looking for feasible ideas that can be implemented soon.
Wonderful.
Excited to be here and look forward to hearing from everyone.
You would have liked our last Atelier, 1,000-day radar. We looked into the future, but we allowed ourselves to only look into the future 1,000 days. So I'm not too sure if that's near term enough for you, Jonathan, but yeah, we shall see. And Nicole Stark, I'm not too sure. I didn't see her face slide in the back door or the side door, but hopefully you're here. And I apologize because spell check did respell Nicole back to where it was. So are you there, Nicole? I'm going to take a prolonged pause, as either muted or will be joining us. So that is your panel of judges. These are the people that you need to impress people today. They look smiley, so they're more kind of looking like Paula Abdul than Simon Cowell today in terms of their orientation, but I'm sure they'll have some tough thoughts about this. We got 3 people serving up challenges today. Eli Whipple, founder of New Power Industries. You're going to be serving up our power challenge, or our product challenge today. How are you today, Eli?
Very well, thank you. Good morning.
Any thoughts before, in a couple slides, you serve up your challenge to people?
No, so honor and a privilege to be here, bringing forth the emerging future with you wonderful people. Thank you.
Wonderful. And I know you're joining us from somewhere in California, so same thing addressed to Christine. Looking wonderful, and hopefully got enough coffee. We have John Harris. He is GM Euro Tech Strategy League for Panasonic. I've had a couple of really interesting chats recently with John. Welcome, John. What are your thoughts for today?
Apparently there's a party at number 10 on the 24th of December and everyone's invited.
All right. Wow.
That's a very London joke. There's a Facebook event that's happening. It's like, I don't know whether you heard, there was a legal party in Downing Street last year when we were all supposed to be in lockdown. So the press in the UK is having a field day with it. So, and then some clever guy has then created one of these sort of events in Facebook, basically saying there's going to be another one on the 24th of December this year, and 1 million people are going. So, yeah. Hello, and nice to meet you, everyone. I've been dropped in the deep end here, so I look after technology strategy in Panasonic for Europe, and we used strategic foresight as a tool to convince our Japanese colleagues that what we've got from an intuition point of view is a good idea. So
wonderful. And please use your chat as well if you want to get in touch with any of our panelists. I'm sure they're more than amenable to accepting your invitations as well. John's going to be serving up our intelligence-based challenge today. I'm filling in here, and that should say Future Proofing Next. I'm filling in here for one of our challenge hosts who just took ill and had the flu. And so I've served up a new challenge as of this morning. I'm managing director of Future Proofing Next. I'm also the co-founder of the guild, and hopefully you like the challenge that I'm kind of made up with 2 hours ago. So why don't we get into it for all of you that have joined us? The format for today, you have a chance, you're going to be hastily assembled into teams of 4. You have a chance to form and storm and norm in a very short period of time and maybe come up with a team name. And then based on the challenges that you're going to choose one of them. And based on that challenge, you'll noodle on that question. We'll bring you back into the forum 10 minutes later, and you can ask the challenge host any question that you have about the challenge. We'll send you back into your groups again. Then you'll have about 30 minutes to actually work the challenge. Our host will then provide you at least a little bit more tidbits of information that may steer your idea or may complicate your idea, depending on how cruel they have been. And you'll have another 15 minutes to do that. And then we will bring you back into the forum so you can present a 2-minute presentation on what your idea is. Now, before we talk further on the challenges themselves, I'll fast forward to here. We'll be looking for your ideas and solutions based on 5 different things. And here's our judges' scorecards that our 6 judges will be looking at. They'll be scoring you out of 50. They'll be looking for novelty. Is this remarkably new or different? Will this solve the challenge, the actual benefit portrayed by what you've come up with? Is this feasible? Will this actually work, or could this work in a future world? Is it aligned with the details laid out by your challenge hosts? So is it strategically aligned? And we'll just put the last camp as a all other camp of, did they actually wow? Did you actually wow the judges? Was there some special sauce behind this? Did you go beyond the call of action, despite the fact we're giving you about an hour in total to come up with a solution here? So that's how we'll be scoring you. And we have a document that we will leave in chat very soon that you'll need to access. And depending on your team number, go to this collaborative part of Google Slides and hopefully come up with, we've given you opportunity for 2 slides. One, which goes deep on, what is your idea? Please explain it. Why is it unique? Why is it valuable? And why is it aligned? And then hopefully a team name and who your group members were. So whatever your team number is, hopefully you can fly into that and access that. And I will leave that in chat before we break, so you can be able to get into that. We have about 30 people in the forum today, and so a number of them are our judges. So we'll probably have about 6 different teams. And hopefully 2 of you will choose the product challenge, 2 of you will choose the other challenge, and 2 of you will choose the systems challenge. So I am going to pass the conch over to Eli. And then Eli, I wrote some words down earlier today that hopefully is close to what the challenge that you're serving up. Do you want to provide some context around it, and then give people some clarity in terms of what we're asking?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is sort of reminiscent of my focus. I've been working under a thesis of decentralized manufacturing as being a rational next step as things evolve. Kind of the industry 4.0 story is showing us that as automation improves and labor costs go down, it makes more sense the next step of cost optimization is to bring the production equipment, the resources, and the market closer together, because there's no one working at the machine in some cases. And we're seeing with supply chain fragility that having redundancy, local redundancy built in is a good idea for that. But also we're just talking about more opportunities for economic participation, and most importantly, perhaps connecting producers to their biosphere to become stewards of their own biosphere, not the abstract extractors of something far away. And so my challenge for you today, if you accept, is to make a product that makes products. And so this is a manufacturing tool that can be productized and made available so that people can meet some basic need with a common material that can be grown or found locally in many places, like some sort of like fiber or wood or starch, something that some archetypical material that grows in many places. So this would be a cottage industry type tool, something a little bit more substantial than a bread machine, but not a big bespoke factory, something that can be reasonably matched with local biosphere's production capacity, and as well as the market requirements. So that's what I have to offer you today. Yeah.
I love it, Eli. Nothing like, it's not like, please find another way to cut bread. No, this is like, we want the bread machine that does it, right? So, or whatever that may end up being. So I love it. So that is the product challenge. Think about it, because you'll be choosing amongst one of these 3 challenges shortly. John, I served your challenge up here. Hopefully I've I've done it justice. Do you want to provide some context around your intelligence-based challenge?
Yeah. So one of the sort of mega things that we've been sort of noticing and sort of pops up in many different verticals is that there's an impending, what we've termed a grey wave or a silver tsunami, which is essentially a large cohort that's going to be retiring, and the impact that that's going to have in the workplace. And the impact being is, how are organizations going to capture that tacit knowledge? How are they going to pass that knowledge down to younger people? Are they going to be able to find younger people? We've already seen in the UK that we've got a severe lack of truck drivers, and a lack of people working in healthcare, not only because people have sort of changed what they wanted to do from a COVID perspective, but because of Brexit. So we've got an experience of what it looks like to have a reduction in the workforce, and truck drivers basically got a 20, 25, 30% boost on their salary in the last 3 months, purely simply because they couldn't find anyone. So what does that mean for other industries and other businesses moving forward? And what are the tools and techniques that we're going to have to think about to enable industry to be able to continue to supply the services and keep the machines running? So it's sort of ideas and scenarios around what does that look like, and what does it mean for us? What are the things that we need to prepare organizations with to think about this problem?
Wonderful. So how do we silver tsunami proof ourselves and whatever that entails? Fascinating. I know I'm wondering if my Christmas presents are going to show up in time based on your transport and your retiring thing there, John. So this personally affects me. I'll serve up the last challenge. I know it's tough for our Australians to come at this time of day. I think it's probably 1 o'clock in the morning or something in some parts of Australia. So I am representing the Australian government today, and we're tasking you with something that can either be really awesome or really horrible for your country. It's an innovative break with the world. You're already allowing some autonomous trucks and trains to be shipped across the country with mining material and other things that probably doesn't get you into a lot of trouble because they're in big spaces and Australia is a big country. But now Australia has once again taken a lead and said, we're going to legalize all autonomous cars everywhere in the next 4 years. Passenger cars, fleet cars, taxis, no matter what it is. And all of the car and tech manufacturers who are eager to get this out are on side. So let's presume they're capable of turning around and actually selling these cars. So you're in charge of this endeavor for all of the land down under. How do you build a system in a way that will benefit your country immeasurably without shocking it and bringing it to its knees, and hopefully providing a system that is fair to all in whatever you interpret that to mean? So those are the 3 challenges. Recapping once again: Eli's product challenge. How do you find a machine or a product that makes products? How do you make it in places that you can find some of those materials and hopefully a level of sophistication that provides value, but not so much that isn't accessible to whatever part of the world or region or place that you're in? John's about the gray wave and the silver tsunami. What are some of the tools and approaches and scenarios that you can predict and look at in terms of accounting for that? And then mine, we're legalizing autonomous cars. There are a lot of kickback effects, knock-on effects. How do we build a system that will make this all work? I'm going to go off screen right now because there are 2 things that you are definitely going to need here. You're going to need access to where, over the course of the next hour, I would love for you to provide your stuff. And so usually Rob, my trusty person, can provide that, but he's up to his ears in work today. So I'm going to be putting into the chat right now as I do my tap dance here. I am going to be putting in chat a PowerPoint document in whatever team you choose. Hopefully you can take the number of the team, and it's breaking down into sections too. I had no idea how many teams might show up today. So there it is right now. It should be accessible to everybody. You'll get 2 slides for each one of your teams. So just depending on which team you choose, get into that area. They're all color coded, so at least the front of your page is going to be different than everybody else. And you've got 1 slide to explain your idea and 1 slide to demonstrate or visualize or bring to life your idea, and however you want to do it. I've given you a blank canvas here. So the first 10 minutes will be you getting into your teams, finding out who your fellow compadres are, and then tumbling about maybe a team name, but just any of the questions that you have about your challenge. So here's what we're going to do. If you are in a product-based challenge, so Eli's challenge on the machine of machines, you will be in breakout rooms number 1 and number 2. And if you've seen 4 people in your room already, move on to the other number of the room. If you are in the intelligence-based challenge that John has served up, talking about the silver tsunami, you are in rooms 3 and 4. Same principle. If you see 4 people in a room already, go to the other one. And then finally, if you are into the the systems-based challenge that I served up on autonomous cars, go into room 5 and 6. I'll ask my hosts and panelists judges to stick around for a couple of minutes in the main room. I'm going to set up 6 rooms right now, and you will have one of the judges or one of the hosts be kind of one of your chaperones as we go through this. So right now I've got a time of 11:27. You have 10 minutes to norm, storm, and form as we go along here. And I am setting up 6 breakout rooms and opening all the rooms now. We can help you get into those rooms as well if that's a challenge. So 1 and 2 product, 3 and 4 intelligence, 5 and 6 systems, and I'll just ask for my challenge hosts to hold back for a time, and judges. Choices. People are still looking, going, which rooms do I choose? How do I avoid the opportunity loss of not being in another room? People are getting it. People are getting it. So if you're, I know somebody's got an unmuted mic. I'm not too sure. I think that might be Sotiris.
He's on mute now.
There we go. So if you've walked away, just go into rooms 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, or 6, based on whatever your preference was. I know logistics on Zoom at the best times isn't great, so my hope is that's achievable. And I know some of you have probably walked away for coffee and decided, okay, I'm going to come back. So I'm going to, unless who else is here? Louise, can I put you into a room?
Yeah, please. Intelligence room. I don't know how to get in. So I'm clicking on a room, but it's not working.
So room either the silver tsunami stuff.
Room 3 or 4, I guess. The
Okay.
Intelligence. Yeah.
Gotcha. Eugene.
Can you put me in a room, Sean?
Yeah, I can, Robin. Where do you want to
go? Number 1, I guess.
Number 1 assigned to. I'm going to put you in 2 just because my numerology says 2 probably filled up. So
okay, that's great. Thank you.
And then Sotiris, can I put you in a room?
Obviously not.
Intelligence, is that, are you talking to me, Sean?
I think so, or whoever still needs to get into a room. I know sometimes.
I wanted to try the intelligence room.
Is that and I apologize. Is that I don't see everybody on screen right now. Is that Saharnaz?
That's exactly right.
And then which room do you want to go into, Sahar?
The intelligence.
Okay.
There's space in
But I
room
still,
4.
I am not sure if that is the type that I really want to, because it can be different depending on how the conversation is gonna go, and especially, or maybe the materials, you know, for the conservation. I think that was the first one.
Okay, I will put you into room 1 then.
Yeah, that would be better. It's because that's right
Oh,
directly
There's only one
related to my
person in room
field.
1.
Thank you.
yeah. And all the best laid plans of mice and man here. I know I already put you into room based on your first thought, Saharnaz, and then how do I bring you back again? I'm just gonna make sure. I think I've got everybody except Eugene. Have I? Did I not? Appropriate?
3 or 4.
3 or 4. Okay, let's see if that worked.
That's all right. This is my first time here, so I'm really getting acquainted with the whole format. And
yeah, it's we can let our knitting show a little bit here, but it all works at the end. So I'm going to assign Joan to room number 2 because I think she might have left. And then Deep Shikna, if I hope I pronounced that correctly. Is there a room that you would like to go into?
5 or 6 systems.
Okay, wonderful. I'll try to put you in 6.
Sure.
There we go.
Yeah.
Hopefully that works. And then I am left with Saharnaz. Is there something that popped up on your screen, Saharnaz, that said go to this room? Oh,
You're on mute.
yeah, I think you're on mute.
There's a button down the bottom that says breakout rooms in the sort of like control part at the bottom.
I was on mute. The section that was directly related to me was about building environment. So probably I can just start from there, and you know, until.
What are, yeah,
I'm
I'm having a tough time bringing you back as an option. So are you able to join that room?
That was number 1, wasn't it?
I can't remember, but it's funny. It's
have her join room 2. There's no one in room 1.
Okay, let's see if it takes me.
Go to room 2.
Go to room 2. Okay.
It's like the Wizard of Oz, Sean. Yeah.
No, you know what? There's a temptation to do it manually and say this is your room, but people want choice, right? So
it's all good.
And I'm just worried. Okay, we got it. We got it down to our, and I know Joan sometimes kind of interlopes and whatever, but it's good. Hopefully that made sense to all of you. It looks like I may be into the score sheet and just changing kind of our things if Nicole doesn't show up. We're going to bring him back in about 10 minutes. My hope is, Christine, can you be chaperone of room number 1? Just look out for their needs, come back to the main room if you need to. Jonathan, could you do number 2? Dave, number 3.
Yeah.
Agath, number 4. And then I'll try to do some traffic control in 5, and then between John and Eli, maybe because 6 is my topic, maybe you can just provide some interference on either room room number 6.
Sean, there's no one in room 1. Maybe Christine could join me in room 2.
Awesome.
Room 1's empty.
Okay.
Yeah, 6 has only got 1 person in as well. I'll join 6 then. I've got some thoughts about this anyway. So
maybe, John, if there's only 1 person in 6, just both go to room 5, right? Just or if 5's too loaded, try to convince a few of those folks to make it over to 6. I'm not too sure how many are in 5.
1, 2,
6.
3, 4, 6.
Yeah. Try to
maybe
drag 2 over.
Before they start loving each other and bonding, you can.
I'll join now. I'll go to 5 and see if I can get some interlopers. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Okay.
Thanks, John. It all, strangely at the end of it, it all works out, even despite all the stuff. Before you go though, John, Eli, we'll let people work on this for about, he already left. We'll let people work on this, but my hope is, Eli, do you have 2 or 3 things stored up for them down the road in terms of, oh, I've just come up with some different information that might be important or interesting, or throw a curveball to you? No, and you may be muted.
Oh, hey. Yeah, I've got some things. It sounds like, because I was challenge 1, is that room 1? Are people working on
Room 1
challenge?
and 2.
1 and 2, yeah.
Well, and there's
Okay.
no one in 1, so it's just room 2.
Okay, gotcha.
So interlope on that room, I suppose, but hopefully we can throw a curveball or 2 of them coming back.
Sounds good. Yeah.
I'll just, as opposed to doing it as a slide, I will just allow you to speak to those 2 or 3 pieces of information. And then judges, are you good on the scorecarding? Like how we're going to eventually, as they present, and given the fact we got 5 or 6 teams, we'll probably just award one across the challenges as opposed to inside a challenge. So,
yeah, makes sense.
That's cool. Thanks for doing this as well. I know, to Jonathan's point, it's like, it's my first event, but I'll just roll with it. I think I'm okay on this. So, yeah.
You're in good hands.
I agree. So if I don't appreciate it, thank you. And then maybe we'll just fly into your room and see if they need any help, or if they have some logistical questions. And then we'll probably 5 minutes from now bring them back into the main room.
Yeah.
Do people do intros, or do they just dive right into it?
I find in these things, everybody wants to know who everybody else is to begin with, right? Like, it's just really the 10 minutes is for them. If they come up with a team name, maybe. But hopefully if they have any really nutty questions, the last 2 minutes, they'll probably get really urgent about it and start to surface those things. And then Eli, or I guess Eli's gone, we'll have to figure those out. So whatever room I said earlier, hopefully you can fly into, and then see if you can provide some air traffic control.
I'm going to room 4 then.
Wonderful. Thanks.
All right. See you in how many minutes?
About 5 minutes. You might be the voice of authority and say in 5 minutes they're going to be finishing up.
Yeah. All right.
There was nobody in the room number 5.
There was nobody in room 5?
6.
Yep.
There's 2 people there now.
Okay.
But you were right. You were the only one for a while.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can. So I will put you into 5 then, or 6. 6. Both have people in them.
Okay. Either will work. 5 should be fine.
Okay. I'll throw you in 6 just because there's 5 people already. I'll throw you in 6 because there's only 3. Okay.
Sure.
Oh, it says you're already in 6. Huh.
Yeah, maybe I was sent there and then I came back because nobody was there.
Yeah. Now I'm just trying to figure out how to get you back in again.
Hello, Sean. I'm happy to be in the future.
Say it again.
I'm happy to be in the future. Oh, and now I can
Nice.
go over to room 5, which is okay. Join.
Let's see if I can move to room 5 or 6. It seems like there's a ton of people in room 5 now. Okay. And then Joan, it's me and you. But I know you're not there, so. Oh. And Akash.
Yes, hello.
Hey, bud. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm sorry. I just saw the
no,
post.
hey, no worries. And I know what time it is over there, so I appreciate your involvement here. The first two rooms we've got right now in breakout, they're probably going to spend the next 3 minutes there. They're all about a product challenge. The next two rooms are all about an intelligence challenge, and the last two rooms are all about a systems challenge. So the product is, how do you build a product of products? The second one is all about a silver tsunami, and how do we get all these people that are retiring, and what do we do about that? And in the fifth and sixth rooms, it's all about autonomous cars, and you're in charge of Australia, and 4 years from now, you've allowed complete legalization of autonomous cars. What do you do? Which room feels right?
It could either be building a product or how we could utilize the people who are retiring. Any one of these two. So I would probably pick the product one. That would be easier for me because I am into that domain actually.
Okay, so let's see what we got. Looks like that might be room 2. So I'll assign you to room 2. Yep. There we go. You'll be coming back in 2 minutes though. Hey, Gordon. You there, Gordon? There we go. Oh, I like the fireplace. They're in breakout rooms right now. I'll give you the spiel I just gave Akash. The first two rooms, I guess maybe it's just room number 2 right now, is based on a product challenge. How do you build a machine that makes products? The room 3 and 4 is about the silver tsunami and how all of these people are retiring. What do we do about it? And rooms 5 and 6 is you're the head of Australia and you've just let autonomous cars completely be legalized. What's a system to help you out with that? Which feels right? Gordon? Oh, you may be muted. I think I hear you, Gordon. You there, Gordon? I'm getting nothing. Gordon. Commissioner Gordon.
Check.
A little bit.
There we go.
It's a little bit. I can hear myself maybe in there, but maybe I'll save you the hassle. You'll figure out maybe what the rooms are. The first two rooms are, I don't know if you heard any of my spiel. The first two are product based. The next two are intelligence based. The next two are systems based. The first two rooms, and it looks like only probably room 2 now, is a challenge based on how do we build a machine that makes products. That's the best way I can serve it up. 3 and 4 is we've got all these people retiring. It's the silver tsunami. There are different professions and industries that lack people. There's a whole bunch of knock-on effects. What do we do about that? And room 5 and 6 is, and it looks like only 5, is you are in charge of Australia and we've just legalized all autonomous cars. So in 4 years, passenger cars, taxi, fleet, whatever, they're legalized. What's a system that makes sense for those people? Yeah. So
can you hear me now, Sean?
I can now. Yeah.
Oh, great. All
so
right,
when we bring these people, say it again.
Say I'll grab a room.
Well, I mean, we're bringing them back now, so maybe wait for them to come back, and you can reintroduce yourself when they come back.
All right. Thank you.
Robin, you're like very Pavlovian. Once that warning comes up, it says we're closing rooms. You just jump right on it, no matter how quick your other friend.
Well, I have to say for room 2, I didn't catch the minute by minute format, and I ate up all of our time getting to know people, which must have been a horrible bother to another teammate, Kat, who was super organized and had tons of great info. And then it's like, oh, we gotta go.
Well,
Sorry to
somebody's probably spitting venom at you, but you know, there's good storming and norming going on there. In true Murphy's Law, it's like 9 people end up in room 2 and 8 people end up in room 5. So just you know, get a whole bunch of really smart strategists and people, but it's just so tough sometimes.
Yeah. So I need that format again. It's minute by minute. We're supposed to, like, what is our next step?
So I will say it's 45 minutes after the hour in whatever part of the world you are. We're going to spend 5 minutes back here. If you have any burning questions about the challenge that have been posed, the hosts will try to answer them. We'll send you back in the room 50 minutes after the hour. You'll have about 25 minutes to go hard on the 2 slides you've been given and whatever your great solution is. And then we'll throw a curveball maybe at you, and then you can spend the last 5 or 10 minutes working on a presentation that will be served back to us in the last half hour. So
awesome. Plot twist is coming. Ship hits iceberg.
Hopefully we'll patent this down the road as a power hackathon or some type of thing, and you know, we'll all make millions from the copyright from that as it travels around the world. First of all, just any burning questions people have that people want to share, you can either share them in chat or you can, I've got 2 people raising their hands. So Alexander, you've got a question or a thought?
Yeah, I have a question about machine making everything from everything. The question is how we are limited with supply of cheap energy. As on the answer of this question, it depends. Do we do in garbage from garbage or something good from garbage, or we can move to making nice things from basically everything, like
yeah. I mean, I think for most of these answers, there's a huge allowance and window for allowing whatever discovery to happen here. So I'll short of, we still have gravity on planet Earth. I think you know, my hope is there's a feasibility there. I guess if you push the feasibility too far, Alexander, and my hope is I'm answering your question correctly. If you push it too far, I guess your judges will say, I don't think that's ever going to work. So that's the only bump.
The question is, I have engineering background and strategic marketing background. And from engineering background, it's a point about how we will make it, which processes we will use, how expensive it will be. And from a strategic point of view, I can think about everything, about saving plan, it's about good for good and so on. So I need some direction for a small time, like 45 minutes.
Yeah, no, you're right. I think it's your strategy hat probably predominates over your process hat here. I think we're looking for the big idea with maybe some passing thought in terms of how to engineer it. But yeah.
Sean, would it be possible for the people who proposed each of these challenges to actually jump into those rooms and ask questions specific to?
Yeah, it's a great thought. I'll make sure that Eli heads to 1 and 2, and John heads to 3 and 4, and I'll do 5 and 6 if they exist. So other questions? Good question, Alexander. I don't have the best minted question for you, but staying high level might be a good approach. Somebody else had a hand up.
Yeah, me. We're in room 3. So John's intelligence-based challenge for John. We're really uncomfortable with the actual assumption that sits behind the question, which we feel is about the concept, both the negative framing of a tsunami. We feel it's much more about silver wisdom, or there was another great word which we'll come back to, but also more that this is a bigger question. This is about industrial era assumptions of the way we work. And so for the concept of retirement is a dated concept for many, many reasons. So it's more about changing working practices. And we've also seen millions and millions of people resigning in the US and other places, the Great Resignation. So it's about making the world of work more accessible, not that we have a career or a job, but that we look at working practices. So those are the kind of scenarios we might want to look at. However, if we're taking it too wide for the challenge proposer, we'll follow his challenge. So just wondering what John's thoughts are.
I can join your room, Tom, but I deliberately left it vague, and it's very appreciative that you've sort of brought up these points, but I'll join your room. We can talk about it a little bit in the room if that's okay.
Perfect.
I like it. I like it. The members are taking over the Atelier radio station and saying, no more. We don't like your question. We want a different one. And I know you do it with the best of spirits there, Tom. Any other questions before we throw you back in your rooms? And I guess an open question for me is there's 9 or 10 people in 2 rooms. That may be an unwieldy number. I will let you decide whether or not you want to subdivide the atom here and split your teams up. But any other questions? I'm looking for hands raised. Okay. So right now it's 11:52. Oh, Sharina, you had a raised hand.
Yeah, I take it that the solutions that we come up with are answering the question of how do we get from here to the thing that is in our challenge? How do we make it possible?
Yeah, that's certainly one attribute, right? If I look at your judge's grid again, it's like, what would be unique and interesting? What would solve the problem? What would be feasible to the problem? You know, how can you present the problem in a extraordinarily special way? And is it aligned to the constraints of your challenge? So how you interpret that.
Arrange a MRI of your hip.
Oh, somebody's, I always love the random background noise, but hopefully that makes sense, Sharina. I think that there may be we're here and getting there. That might be an approach, but others might take a different approach. All right. I will send you back into your rooms, maybe answer the question that whether or not you want to subdivide your room if you have more than, let's say, 5 people. Either way is fine. We'll award the prize across different things. In about 22 minutes, we'll bring you back here and your host will throw a curveball, some information at you that may or may not help you. All right. So you've got 22 minutes to go back into your rooms, and I will the 6 rooms. Yeah, we got 6 rooms again. Open all rooms. And
put me somewhere fun, Sean. Put me somewhere fun.
Well, we'll allow everybody to join in, and I can tell you what the rooms are, and then you can decide to choose. We'll see where the numbers go as well. I think you and Gordon remain unassigned, and so if particularly Eli and John can go into their respective rooms. I'll try to hit room number 5 shortly. Okay, Rob, the first 2 rooms are a product-based challenge, and I think it's really principally room number 2. So how do you build a machine that makes products with elements that are available to you? And this is for Gordon as well. Rooms 3 and 4 are an intelligence-based thing. Tom had mentioned we'd served up the silver tsunami. People are retiring. This presents challenges for society, and it may be redefined based on what happens with John going back into room 3 and 4. And then 5 and 6 is you are in charge of Australia. You've just legalized autonomous cars. How do you provide a system that is both fair, immeasurably helpful, but doesn't bring your country down to its knees? So which one of those? Rob?
Wherever Louise is.
I don't know where she is. She's left. I think she's in 3 or 4. So I'm gonna throw you in.
She's in 4.
She's in 4. So
that was
there
a
you go.
request on her part. Thank you.
I do the full dress down, and then you go, I like Louise. I'm just gonna go there. Gordon, where do you want to go?
Good, put me in 3. Looks like I could use some more.
Okay, room number 3. There we go.
You want me to
And
join
then
number 3 again?
Dave, Christine, we're just a troika now. So, where do you want to go, Dave?
Well, yeah, I could go to, I think, room number 2, maybe.
Do it.
Maybe stop some free energy pipe dreams.
I love it. No, go right ahead.
See you later.
Awesome. And Christine, I know you're probably grabbing a cafe latte or something at your local what's the coffee shop I love in Vancouver? Cafe A, Aframato. Oh, the shock of being thrown back into the main room again. So just a couple of different housekeeping things before we hear what wonders you've come up with over the last hour and a bit. If you like this type of activity, maybe under a little bit less time duress, we are building out a splinter group, not a splinter group, but a group as part of our guild that does this for foundations, charities, corporates. If you're interested, just drop a note at info@grayswanguild.org saying you're interested, and just mention the name Sprint if you would. I'd ask my panelists, my judges, to make sure that they've got their scorecards open, because we're about to hear some greatness. Christine, are you in the scorecard area? Awesome. Jonathan? Someplace. Oh, somebody's got somebody's not muted. Who might that be? Not too sure. So that's the second thing. And the third thing, I guess, we've done this in a very time compressed way, which is kind of unfair, but it is a little bit of a metaphor for life, working under some time duress, not necessarily choosing your team members, but having them chosen for you. And so hopefully it provides you at least some semblance of reality and some of the interactions that go on day to day in real life companies. Eli, we'll buy some time for people as they probably put the last minute things in their PowerPoint. Any expectations or any thoughts as you exited your room?
Yeah, I think we got a bunch of interesting ideas down, and I think they're a great substrate for, I'm sure someone's in the shower gonna say, aha, I get it. And there's gonna be this eureka moment where there's some beautiful integration of things that look really separate becoming one and doing something really powerful. So I think we'll get that email at some point.
Very cool. John, outtakes from your room? Oh, and John's off camera.
Sorry, I was getting water. I didn't realize you were going to. Yeah, no, it was really interesting. Sort of, we came up with some really, really nice ideas. Time is short, but I really enjoyed the conversation, so it was really, really valuable. But yeah, I just updated the slide, so I don't want to ruin anyone's thunder.
And I'll just speak from my room. I mean, it was a systems challenge, and not surprisingly, they chomped on the bit of a systems all the different challenges of autonomous cars. I love some of the different, I think, dead avenues and some live streets that they went down. So it'll be interesting to see where they ended up in terms of where they go. So we bought some time. I think there was no team 1, but there was a team 2. I'd ask, you'll have 3 minutes to present, and I'll ask probably Eli first to comment in terms of just feedback, and then maybe 2 judges, and then we'll move on to team 2, 3, and 4 subsequently. So who is presenting from team 1? Or is it everybody? I will not start the 3 minutes until I hear a person speak.
I think there was only team 2, right?
Oh, sorry, I said team 1, and that's why everybody was like having a pregnant pause. Team 2, I apologize.
Sorry, I missed that. Could you say it again, please?
And maybe this is just a clever way to buy extra time to finish up those last minute PowerPoint slides. Anybody from team 2 taking the conch?
Team 2 go last.
If team 3 allows it, for sure.
Okay, team 3 can go. And the first thing is a little learning for today. It's always pronounced conch. Always. I'm speaking as a Caribbean national man. Team 3.
Do you need me to pop something up on screen, or do you want to pop your own screen up if you're looking at something?
No, it's okay. It's too many words in it because we were wordsmithing as we went. We're going to try to summarize in 3 minutes. We were looking to be novel, provide a benefit, and be feasible. And what we came up with was the idea of wisdom tokens, of social capital for elders. The problem that we saw that was being faced was slightly broader, and we checked in with John on this, that the world's facing multiple challenges around workforce and skill shortages over the coming years from 3 core areas we highlighted. 1, baby boomer retirement gap, as was originally highlighted. 2nd, AI and machine learning, etc., may create both workforce and skill shortages, oddly enough. And 3rd, the great resignation, that more and more people want a different, and in the words of Rick in our group, a generative compact with a concept of work. They want different ways of working. So we really looked at that and went, how can we look at innovative and beneficial and feasible ways of doing this? And this is less about the how and more about the what. But we looked at a platform that provides tokens. Let's not get into a crypto conversation. Tokens for trade are as old as time. And we're looking specifically where elders, and I'm not defining that by age, defining that by experience, where elders, whether or not they are in quote unquote retiring, they may wish to work, contribute, share wisdom and skills, mentor, coach. And there's a platform there that they can continue to, that's the platform for society as a whole, can continue to capture that collective and individual value inherent in this cohort society, from things like core skills to pattern matching and beyond. And this also goes beyond payment with money, and not to exclude payment with money, hence our use of the phrase social capital and the phrase tokens. We do have an epidemic of loneliness in society at all ages, and sometimes all people want is to connect with others. And tokens are almost gamifying the certain recognition people may receive. So tokens could be used for trade on an exchange for areas that may not be easily able to monetize. And one area that I'm particularly focusing on is the idea of mentoring, reverse mentoring, training, coaching. For those, I didn't get a chance to write it, for those interested, a really seminal book on this is called Wisdom at Work by my friend Chip Conley. And it's the idea, so and you could watch The Intern with Robert De Niro, it's very good. So these could be exchanged, they could potentially with corporate partners be exchanged for areas that elders care about, such as healthcare in countries without universal healthcare. And core to this might be that offering. Intergenerational knowledge transfer in both directions is really a key gap in the world. And actually, why might, finally not written down, why might partners, corporate partners be interested in this? Because the ones I talk to all the time are massively aware of workforce and gaps and the need to change the workplace in order to keep attracting talent, skills. And what we're specifically narrowing down to here, going back to the original challenge, was the silver generation and not losing their time, energy, skills from the workforce and the workplace, however we may choose to define it. So that's roughly 3 minutes, Sean.
I love it.
Thank you to Scott, Rick, Gordon, Eugene, Joan, and I'm the spokesperson for that group very quickly.
Well done. Thank you.
Very eloquent, and your team is rallying behind you, thinking those will add to judges' karma points. I love the bonding that's happened already there. So and I wasn't looking at my thing because you did decide to go first. So so there's something to be said for that. Let's move on to, and thank you, Tom and team. Let's move on to team 4. Oh, sorry, before we do, Eli, just or sorry, this would be John's group. John, any comments off the top from what Tom presented?
I'm so happy that I joined because that was so eloquent and so thoughtful, and yeah, it was one of the things that I've struggled with this type of activity and the pandemic in particular is that I've been working in isolation on this, and all of the books say in the first paragraph, sorry, is that you need to do it as a group. So thank you very much for that opportunity.
I'll ask 2 other judges just to chime in their quick and dirty thoughts. Agath, any thoughts from what you just heard from team 3?
Yeah, I really liked it. It's a nice speech. I like how it ties up with several topics, including the tokenization, the gamification element, and also tying it up with the loneliness, which might be an issue for some more senior people. So I thought it was covering quite well, not only the challenge, but also a few important connected themes.
Wonderful. And Christine, any thoughts on what you heard from Tom's group?
I absolutely loved it. You know, I thought this is an idea that could really have legs and solved so many, both workforce, but also kind of social challenges that we're facing right now. You know, the one question I had, it would have been a perfect score for me, but the question I had is, you know, to what extent does wisdom and mentoring match where we really expect to see the labor force shortages? And is there going to, you know, to be a need to supplement some of the wisdom mentoring that can be offered with some other hard skills that might be needed in the labor force?
Wonderful. All right. Well, I'll let the judges kind of chime in. I've already put my scores in, but I see some boxes right beside me there. We're going to move on to team 4 just so we can skate out within the 2 hours. So I'm not too sure who is presenting for team 4, but this is on the same brief that was given to you on the silver tsunami. Anybody from 4?
We didn't actually elect somebody to present, so I don't know if anybody has a burning desire. John was brilliant at summing up.
Yeah, if you look at the slide, Louise, I actually did fill in the slide as best I can, but I don't feel I should be doing it.
I'm happy to do it if nobody else has a burning desire. Okay, so Tom, thank you so much. I think we're very much aligned with a lot of your thoughts and ideas. We came up with a concept of building a matchmaking platform, actually all of life. So I think we started at the age of, was it 12 or 14? Rob, you'll have to help me out here. To 88, we decided. And then, of course, Agustin reminded us that we're probably going to live to be 120 in a short space of time, so we may have to extend that. The idea behind it is, Christine, to your point, and forgive me if I don't present, I think I'm sort of touching on a lot of the stuff that Tom's already talked about, so forgive me if it's not a formal presentation. But touching on your point, to add to that platform, it would very much be matchmaking on a skills basis. So if we're looking for hard skills, as a user, you would log in probably a little like a Fiverr platform or something like that, where you would actually look for the skills and expertise, and you would have a whole series of questions that would help you to define your question, because I think a lot of people coming onto these types of platforms don't actually know what they're looking for. If you're a truck driver, you might know that you need to learn something that might require somebody's physical presence. But if you're a leader and you're looking to upskill in terms of becoming a better leader or a conscious leader or a mindful leader or whatever the next, label of leadership is next year, you're looking for very different type of match. So number one, of course, people don't necessarily want to retire. There's a lot of wisdom. Although we decided to lose the word wisdom, and I'll explain that in a moment, there's a lot of skills, experience, tacit knowledge, expertise that we are about to lose. And when people actually are looking for that, the reason why we lost the word wisdom was that a lot of young people see perhaps the older generation as the people who drop bombs, nuclear bombs, or perhaps are the architects of the racism, the inherent and systemic racism in our systems. So there's a lot of, I guess, the social side of things that needs to be navigated. And it would allow the user, whoever was looking for that match, to actually match up with an individual without sans perhaps the perceived cultural weight of that wasn't desired. So I think that's one part of it. The other thing is also linking up to other platforms. There is a league called the League of Entrepreneurs that focuses specifically on developing entrepreneurship skills within organizations, which was very much to Peter's point about developing entrepreneurship skills in young people right from the start at an early age. So bringing people in at an early age, right from the start, teaching them how to be entrepreneurs and learning that kind of expertise from somewhere else. And if we think of all of the examples where you might need a mentor or to learn from somebody who's been there and done that, it could be that you're taking your company, you're about to list your company and you need to know who to hire against funding milestones, for example. So some of these questions aren't as easy as, let's say, hiring for engineering or looking for engineering mentorship or technical mentorship. They might be bigger and broader. So we need to be able to link in as a portal to all sorts of other areas of expertise, assessments, development type programs, where somebody can actually find what they're looking for. So not quite cradle to grave, but something that is an all of life type platform where you sign in and you get what you need at each stage of growth and development as you perceive it at the time. And I think, I hope I haven't missed anything. I wasn't prepped to speak, so hopefully that's enough. John, is there anything I've missed?
Amazing, Louise. Thank you.
Wonderful, Louise. I'll, John, I know once again, your groups, any thoughts? And I'll ask then Dave and Jonathan to weigh in too.
No, not at all. Just learning experience for me. So next time, if I get asked to do it again, I shall frame it a little bit tighter.
Wonderful. Dave, any thoughts on what Louise just presented from her group?
Yeah, so, it was a wonderful idea. I think it touches upon a lot of elements of the challenge. Yeah, I'm feeling hopeful.
Nice.
Good.
Jonathan, are you weighed down by Dave's hope, and will you bring some Canadian cynicism, or are you also hopeful to the discussion?
I think it's a great idea. Love it. Both of them, they're really good. Lots of good food for thought there. Thank you.
Wonderful. All right, so that was that middle category. Judges, I know we're all over the map on the scorecards. We'll eventually figure out where we need to put our scores in. So I think you'll jig to my jag as I'm looking at the spreadsheet. Group number 5, you had the systems-based challenge. I'm not too sure who's presenting, but please, the floor is yours.
All right, I'll lead the presentation, and Paula's going to backfill any inadequacies in my delivery. So we took on a pretty big and broad challenge, and we did not really deliver anything firm, which reflects the sentiment of the challenge. It's a very ambitious goal to go to legalizing autonomous vehicles in the country, in any country, but certainly Australia, within 4 years. So we've called our group the kangaroo grid, aka the highway safety dance. And then it is a dance between a lot of competing stakeholders, competing goals, and competing concerns. And we've tried to map that out for your reference on slide 62. So this is the high roll up in terms of goals. We want to legalize autonomous vehicles in Australia by end of year 2025. We want to make accessibility a priority for all stakeholders, including citizens and manufacturers and ecosystem innovators. We've limited ourselves to 4 broad goal categories. So on the environmental front, we want to reduce system level waste and carbon footprint through vehicle level gains in efficiency within the system, building upon other technologies like telematics, etc. As far as community goals, obviously reduction in accidents and human harm, perhaps improving noise, reducing traffic jams. At a national goal level, with the government of Australia being our project sponsor and stakeholder, we want to create a local being national, ecosystem for innovation to grow around the transport sector and its modernization. And in terms of commercial or business goals, beyond those, we want to look at productivity gains and recapture. So at the employee level, ways to actually be productive without having to focus on driving and commute, and certainly at the commercial level with goods transport, eliminating the need for use of human capital on automatable tasks like driving. In terms of risks, I brought this in because I'm familiar with it. IT governance and cyber readiness is quite immature in Australia relative to other jurisdictions. They have this thing called the Essential 8, which is pretty underwhelming in terms of cyber readiness. So that is a concern with the goal of getting that in 4 years. Standards and enforcement. So government needs to play a key role and partner with industry to set standards to enforce. And then, of course, that brings in our friend Rob's darling insurance and liability industry, which is another major stakeholder. So we have citizens and consumers as stakeholders. We have the government, we have vehicle manufacturers, we have the broader technology ecosystem participants, and we have the insurance industry. There are more, but those are the 5 major players in terms of stakeholders. Slide 61 is the early part of what our logo would look like. I stole that in the last minute. And our roll up on slide 60 is really looking at environmental friendliness and overall resource recovery while driving innovation at an ecosystem level through the promise of emerging technologies and autonomous vehicles and a broader overall system. And we think a very calculated and slow rollout. We're not going to go autonomous on bush trails because the machines need time to learn that topography and distinguishing between what is one thing versus the other. And that needs to be managed at a multi-stakeholder in terms of manufacturer and ecosystem innovator level. There needs to be a lot of partnerships, and whether it's Nissan or Toyota or whomever is providing the vehicles, they need to be training their bots to a standard that is governed. And I say governance is everything here with respect to rolling this out on time or certainly within this decade. And I invite Paula to add any other additional sense to our sense making here.
Did a great job, Daniel. That was fabulous. Just a couple of things that I think I observed as we were going through this, this systems challenge to be able to, co-create the system. It requires a lot of different disciplines to weigh in on the benefits for every sector. And so if this were to be implemented, then you need to have a lot of different types of resource people, not just tech heads, not just policy wonks, but people with different experiences, like the people that are in this group, in this atelier. that we can make the best use of the best practices across the world for keeping in mind environmental, community, governance structures, and cybersecurity of these autonomous vehicles. And I'm sure that there are other aspects as well, but we, in the time we were given, I think we managed to hit quite a few, and to also make sure that they're not only people friendly but environmentally friendly. Another aspect that we explored or mentioned in the last minute was possibly subterranean, as opposed to en route, but subterranean vehicles. There is a city in the UAE that is a model city where they have taken all of their transport below ground. So it's like an oasis above ground. It's for residents and shopping and everything else. And there's modern subway systems and car systems and transport systems below the desert. So that's another possibility, because there are a lot of harsh terrains in Australia, and it might be possible to do something, although maybe not in 4 years. So I also wanted to thank Jean Elvire for her initial idea of the kangaroo option that morphed into the kangaroo grid. So that was great, and everybody's contributions really led the discussion into what we were able to come up with within the scope of our time, and with sort of a free scope as opposed to a specific scope.
Cool. Thank you for that, both of you, Daniel, Paula, and Group 5. Good karma points for me. I'm judging on this one. The added logo piece, pretty good, Daniel and team. I don't know who found that one, but it's gone beyond the call. Christine, just some quick thoughts on what you just heard. Oh, and I think we might have lost her a little bit. Jonathan, any quick thoughts? Oh, Jonathan?
Yeah, no, I'm here. I'm struggling a bit with making it tangible, but I realize it's a very difficult problem. So mostly what I feel like I've heard is just almost an expanded problem definition of all the different pieces and stakeholders that have to be wrapped up. But I'm not really clear on maybe some of the tangible aspects of it, and maybe that's just a reality of how complex it is.
Yeah, it cannot be solved in an hour and a half. I think an hour and a half is less than required to actually map out the complexity of the problem, the challenge, and the points of consideration. So we realized we ran out of time, but we thought it was important to think through everything before deciding anything.
Well, and I applaud you for a really good, memorable visual of that Kanga, because when in doubt, a good visual goes a long way.
Sell first, implement later, right?
I'm sold. I signed up for the picture.
Jonathan speaking as a former brand manager, yeah, same type of appeal. Speaking of time, we brought up time. We're into the after hours here, but we still have one group to go. So pivoting to Group 2, who begged forgiveness and to go last. I'm wondering if you can serve up your insights on the product-based challenge you were confronted with.
Okay, Group 2, do you want just to do the normal presentation, or I made a cardboard chair in like 5 minutes?
Slide 8.
Okay, looks like I'll present my cardboard chair then. If you could go to slide 8.
Wow, we're going into the furniture business, Sean. I love it.
All right. So if folks are on there, I might even, should I pop this up for your group to the full screen, Kat, or should I just allow people to go there?
Well, if everyone's there, then that's fine. I guess screen sharing does lag sometimes. Okay, and my presentation is in the form of a short story.
There we go.
Nice.
Yes.
Love it. So good.
So, it is recycling day at work, and you leave the office at noon, eat a lunch of mushroom bacon at the biofuel-powered food truck, and head into the cardboard co-op. You've brought your old chair from work, a coffee-stained thing that has collapsed yesterday, its corrugated triangles finally failing after 2 years. It's purely made of recycled cardboard, so you disassemble it in 30 seconds and toss it in a shredder that leads to a composter for a community garden on the roof, and also a good place to buy cheap indoor potting soil. Wink, wink. You find a new sign beside the shredder advertising some cardboard-grown mushrooms coming soon that could replace cardboard packaging with mycelium. Now, the cardboard co-op is an ex-warehouse and still carries a vast empty sensation with its high ceilings and plenty of columns. You hear the beeping of a truck and see a truckload of clean, recently recovered cardboard covered with various logos of delivery companies empty into a conveyor belt where volunteers sort the catch by usability. Once a pile of perfect cardboard is ready, resident makers then cut the sheets to size with a giant laser. Designs include chairs, tables, wall hangings, and custom projects. Furniture in the co-op are obviously made of cardboard, and they include a solid block of cardboard for a table, to more stylized tables that look like it could fold flat, and an astonishing design made of 165 tubes that can move up and down like a solid ball pit sand hologram. You have zero design skills, but because you brought in a used chair, you get to rent another chair for 1 year for free. A chair with the same design is luckily available right now, and you find it's been updated with reinforced legs. Back at the office, you'll unfold the package and assemble the chair. Maybe your colleagues on recycling day have volunteered at the rooftop farm or spent time with their children or went brainstorming at the Gray Swan Guild.
Kat, wow, that's
wow.
You must have done that yesterday. Yeah, that must have been scripted yesterday.
John, I'm gonna write the POV underneath that script. Nice.
As I buy some time to fill in my own scorecard, Eli, you had to chaperone this mission. Your thoughts on this one first?
Oh, I absolutely love it, and I'm just totally impressed with the synthesis there and the storytelling. That's what it all comes down to. I don't know. Yeah, some takeaways for me is it's interesting what different parts of a supply chain people, when you say local materials and what's available, you get a lot of different answers depending on where we are in the world. And I think that this kind of project benefits from diversity of perspectives, and yeah, I would turn up the diversity on this sort of a project to get even more interesting results. This one was fantastic, and I absolutely love it. So thank you, Kat, for the short story and the amazing synthesis of our conversation. I'm totally impressed.
I'll ask Agath to provide her 2 cents on what she's heard.
Well, same thing. I'm very impressed with the presentation, the storytelling, the script, the visual. It was very, very sleek. So I know we have a criteria for the wow effect, and it's only out of 10. And I'm like, maybe we could put 15 out of 10. That was really, really good.
Wonderful. And then Dave, any thoughts?
Yeah, I'm amazed as well. Like the group worked really hard, and there was a lot of pressure in the last minute, and this coming out is really impressive. And yeah, a great story. I can see it happening. Touches, I think, most of the points of the challenge. So yeah, pretty well done.
And then Jonathan, back to you. Any thoughts here?
Well, having listened to it, I mean, our team was all over the place, and I think Kat just did a fabulous job with just pulling all those different threads together. So yeah, serious points. Love the storytelling. What a great way to communicate it, and I love the visual. It was superb. Well done, Kat. You're a rock star.
Wow, Kat, you're getting a lot of love from people here today. So any thoughts in terms of take us through how you decided to present this and congeal it at the last minute?
Yes, I decided to present this because our group was very productive in terms of coming up with ideas. And should I mention Eli's homebrew ethanol thing was really amazing. But I decided to just, I have no idea what I'm doing, so it came together.
Wonderful. Well, it seems to have resonated. So I've just tabulated the scores, doing some math here. There's some pretty tight separation here. Do you guys want to know the scores, or are we all winners? Which one do we go for? Well, I will do it out of the sake of, I think that was an expectation set up. I want to thank my judges, first of all, for chiming in here and listening to all of these and making some really smart statements, and also Eli and John for serving up the challenges. So I'm going to say 2 people at the bronze medal because it's so close that Team 4 and Team 5 share the bronze medal. So we're all on the podium here. Team 3 gets the silver medal at 41 points averagely out of 50. And Team 2, based on the strength of the really good visual and the strong presentation, 46 out of 50. Maybe there's some recency bias there, but I think, Kat, you pulled it off for Team 2. So congratulations. You will be lauded amongst the masses as the first champion of the inaugural Design the Future Now. We've got a small enough group of people in the room. Just thoughts on the overall process today, maybe just at most just a sentence or two. Jonathan?
Yeah, I loved it. I think the great challenge with all of this is balancing focus from just big meaty questions. And so I think if I could do it all again, I would probably try to force people to be a bit more focused, just because then it's kind of part of the criteria to stay within a bit of a box. Although I can tell the personalities on this call would instantly rebel, but I think it could have helped a bit. But it was super fun and great to just get exposed to such a global audience and hear not just ideas, but also even vocabulary that people around the world are using to process ideas. And I found that fascinating. So great to be part of this. Pleasure to be with you all.
Once again, with holding up the smart quotient of the Jonathans in the guild. Thank you, Jonathan. Laura, any sentences to capture what we went through? Oh, muted, I believe.
I'm with Jonathan. I think that possibly if maybe it's because our challenge, which was such a large one, is that if it was tightened up even into any one of the areas, we might have been able to get to the place of a solution, more easily, but still an important discussion. And, half of finding a solution is defining the challenges within it. So. More than
very, very astute, Laura. Just constraints and I guess the thing of sense making, right? Problems are only given to you in school, so just trying to define what the real problem is part of the challenge. Tom McCallum.
So since Sean invited me into this group a while ago, I've been struggling with connecting to the group. I love the idea of a gray swan, but I'm both somebody who does a lot of thinking and a lot of listening, and my whole career has been around tangible entrepreneurship. So I really love this process. It has been more focused than I've seen to date from Grey Swan Guild. It's not a right or wrong, it's just what energizes me. And yet I saw a real variability in the groups about tangibility. So I really enjoyed the process. I still struggle to read the weekly newsletters, which I think average about 4,000 words. So I like focus and tangibility, and with that, I will stop.
Wonderful, Tom. Thank you. Louise. Oh, and you may be muted.
Yeah, sorry, trying to find the right button. I absolutely love this. I thought it was just such fun, and I'm looking forward to more like this. Just wrapping our heads around something big and chunky and chewy, and doing it with a bunch of incredible thinkers and some funny people too. So that's amazing. If I had to do things
Louise, who
differently
are you
next
talking
time-
about when you say funny? Name names here.
I can't say. It's yeah, it's you need to know basis. If I had to do anything differently next time, I think I might run a parallel thought program on how am I going to present this, because I think that when you get involved in the challenge, often, well, I certainly lost all sight of, well, you know, how do we present this in a way that that wows the audience? So I think I'd bring in a bit of theatre. Yeah. And I'm done.
Wonderful. Agath, I know you have to drop off. We're going to go quickly through these. Any thoughts from yourself as a esteemed judge?
Well, I really enjoyed the sessions. There were some great conversations. Maybe some groups would have benefited from maybe a tighter challenge or a bit something less big, more a bit more framed, a bit more guidance to keep the conversation. But I thought most of the conversations were amazing. It was very creative. I really enjoyed it. So thank you for inviting me and thank you for having me. I'll come back.
Awesome. Thanks, Agath. Jean? Oh, and I believe, yeah, there we go.
Well, it was interesting because beyond the work that we co-created together, there was a meeting of human beings. And I'm quite happy what we did together. And also we were able to connect beyond what we have done. That's what I can say here. Thank you.
Wow. I love that sentiment. I truly do. That's wonderful. Eli.
You're welcome.
Hey, yeah. Totally enjoyed. I've been thinking about doing my own hackathon in a different space. So this is good, a good example of how that can be structured. And I'm just amazed with what came out with my. Sorry, too many thoughts at once. It was great. I would do it again. I would position myself a little differently. My leadership was nil, which it adds to how amazing that there was an outcome. And I too would reframe my challenge to be really clear with what the play space is and what is more fixed. I think I was a little too open and free, and where the specificity was required wasn't very clear. So I would be more deliberate in assigning what is open and what is can be just a black box, and we don't need to know how it works, sort of thing.
Wonderful. Gordon?
Yeah, I thought it was great. Sorry, I had to join late, but I got a lot out of this. I think what I started to realize as a part of group 3 was the tokenization of things that we think about for the future is a really powerful opportunity. I thought our group did a great job, but for what it's worth, as much as I enjoyed Kat's presentation, if Tom would have had 6 more minutes, he could have done our report in a storytelling as well, and we would have earned the gold medal, but she earned it, so good job, Kat. My last comment is the token. I had some good names, I thought. If it was just for baby boomers, we could call it geezer coin. And then when we realized it needed to be for all ages, be a little more diverse, we could just call it gig coin. And that's all I had today.
I love it. A small amount of bitterness, some going through the 5 stages of still wanting to be a victory, and the hidden brander in yourself slipping out. Wonderful. Alexander, thoughts?
First of all, very first time here, and it was very interesting to see how it works, which ideas are shared and how, and thank you all very much for it. It was very interesting to learn about how many different ideas come in one place, and it's awesome. It's really cool, and I hope to see you next time to be here.
Wonderful. Thank you for that. And yeah, it's a divergent idea is really good. It's tough in an hour and a half to converge on like the right one too. I sense that pressure in a couple of groups. Scott.
I enjoy meeting new people and being thrown into these situations where we have to, become a team and friends very quickly and figure out a problem. The problem thinking, of course, enjoy just the independent, random, free thinking and deep dives into issues. I think that's always good for our brain. And I'm looking forward to the Gigcoin. So that might be interesting.
We got a couple of ideas coming out of here, so we may have to pitch these to different clients on everybody's behalf. Daniel.
Yeah, I'll own up to our group, one being twice the size of most groups because we were 8 at one point, and taking on a very complex problem. I think maybe in hindsight, that particular problem could have been divided into multiple groups to focus on the problem deep dive of its various interconnected parts. And then we could have actually competed on what innovators and idea people do, which is, have all the dirty work as a base done at a group scale and then compete against each other to come up with the best idea based on the shared intel. So that might be a format opportunity to take on something as big as that by dividing to concur and then competing to conquer in terms of net new resolution and innovation. So, but it was great. I met some great new people today and always enjoy hearing ideas from all over the world from some of the best people I've ever come across. So thank you all.
Wonderful. Great sentiment. John H.
Yeah, thank you very much for letting me participate. Actually, I completely agree with what Eli said. Given an opportunity again, I'd really frame it a little bit tighter and sort of think about it a bit more. But yeah, really enjoyed the conversation. Really diverse group. So thank you very much for finishing off my week for me.
Wonderful. Yeah, this could be the last task for many of us. So yeah, good way to send it out. Longshoreman Robin, what saith you?
It was a great experience, privilege to meet all of you again. It was interesting to see Eli's question, which did go in 4 quite divergent directions. And in terms of a sense-making exercise, Kat was, of course, in the instance of our group, such a powerhouse of bringing up all these wonderful ideas. And Akash and I and Alexander, we did our bit as well, but it was neat standing back and just looking at Kat just produce idea after idea. And she's going to do extraordinarily well in this space of sense making. And I hope everybody who has an opportunity to hire her does hire her.
Kat, you're getting some good props here. Rob Tyree.
Great work. Sorry, I was sort of bouncing around today, but this is solid. I love the ideas. I love the interaction. I love the spark, literally. And around education, I think we can get something done. Gitcoin, the token side of it, fantastic idea. And Sean, I think we can connect Gitcoin outside the guild to Swan coin inside the guild.
Yes.
I love you. Not that Kat needed it, but I loved when we served up the cardboard chair and you doing 2 thumbs like this. If I was on the other teams, I would say, wow, biasing the witness a little bit here up front, but so be it. Agustin, your thoughts?
Sorry, my robot vacuum is cleaning. Well, tokenization and the silver lining between what is coming with AI, the future, and all this. Well, I think that prosperous moment that we can do with blockchain probably is that, because a public ledger, it has something that we need to get more of all the people involved with, and microtransactions, tokenization, NFTs, art. It's all in the same bag. I think it's really good what is coming, and I don't know. I really like all the time that we share here today. Great insights, as always.
Kat, it sounds like you're being virtually held on the shoulders of your team right now in victory. Any thoughts?
Thank you, everyone. Insert Oscar speech here.
It's funny, great speech when it came to the idea, but now that the light shone on yourself, it's kind of, you know, a little bit less, you know, verbose maybe. I will let that stand. Akash, good to see you in here again. Any thoughts from today?
It was actually really amazing. Kat's inputs in the team and the team coming up with, you know, continuously generating ideas over there. So being a part of it, it was really solid. And Ellie also giving her, showing us that ethanol model, the prototype that he had made. So a lot of interesting conversations happening out there. And apart from this, I think Tom McCallum's idea of tokenizing the social capital thing, I think that was also a very engaging idea. I think it was great from my end. It was great being a part of this.
Wonderful. And special commendation too, because Akash, I don't know if I had to vote for people that were part of our 1,000-day radar session last month, but Akash really kind of blew me away on our fashion and art panel. So if you want to know about the future of fashion, Akash is your man. So thank you, everybody. I know we've gone long here, and you were quite able to drop off if you needed to. So thanks for hanging in for the 2.5 hours. It didn't feel like 2.5 hours, which is a great thing. So thank you all. Jonathan, thanks for joining for the first time. I'll definitely follow up with you. I've got follow-ups with a lot of different people on this call. So I will leave it at that. And if you're interested in doing this ongoing, just put your name in the chat saying Sprint, I'm in, and your name, and we'll make sure that as we get real on some of this stuff, not pretend that we get you involved as well. So thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Sean.
Thank you.
Have a great weekend.
You
Stay away from Omicron.
Thanks.